So basically, our goal is to continue improving the efficiency, transparency, and effectiveness of the city secretary's office while being mindful of the city's financial priorities. Next.
Full disclosure, I was going through the book to see where I was in the lineup, and I didn't see it in the book. So. Turn this on.
We got a mic too if you want to use the mic.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Apologies. I've been back since Tuesday, so I'm a little playing catch up. But I did put this slide together talking about community development, economic development. I put them together on one slide because really since I've been here, my goal has been for those two to be able to leverage one another's legal opportunity and assets and leadership to accomplish the same goal. So essentially the mission at EDC and CDC is to leverage one another's assets, leadership, and legal authorities to create sustainable economy, which y'all been talking about earlier, while making Princeton the ideal place to live, work, and play. You also talked about that. We don't just want to grow taxpayers. We want people to be able to work here, live here, not drive to work. Some accomplishments, EDC. We closed the deal with Princeton's first medical office building, 25,000 square feet. They're under construction. Closed deals with 2 anchors at the town center. I hated that I wasn't able to be at the groundbreaking for Kroger. I hear it was a huge deal and a great turnout. We're excited about that. I'll also mention one of the accomplishments there is that has a 0 effect on the general fund budget. That was 100% done by the EDC, so no incentives from the general fund. As the other anchor that is yet to be announced and breaking ground, they have 0 effect on the general fund. So that's good. We will do that where we can. And then we negotiated a cost-friendly, at appraised value, deal with the PD to do their public safety building. The EDC cannot, if it's not an economic development project, by law, we have to get appraised value for a piece of land. So we were able to get an appraised value on the land, do a 0 interest loan for 20 years. That way PD could afford to do the deal. CDC, what we do is all about partnerships. Between EDC and CDC, we're the Chamber of Commerce's largest funding partner. But in cooperation with the Chamber and the ISD, launched the Mayor's Apprenticeship Program. We're going to be having a graduation dinner week after next. For the first class, we're very excited about that, to get kids into the workforce and get them to learn what it's like to be in the workforce. You can't learn that in a classroom. And then in cooperation with Collin College and PD, we launched Officer Nancy Dominguez Scholarship for Public Safety with Collin College. They were so appreciative of the seed funding that we did for that scholarship. They named the training room after her for 5 years. And if we continue the program, I'm thinking they're going to keep it named after her. So that was a really cool thing. And it also feeds our PD. Yeah, we get great PD. We've got this, get great PR. We've got this great training scholarship. At the end of the day, we're feeding chief with qualified candidates to expand our own PD. So little self-serving, but it also is very important. And then we also upgraded not only the safety of our city, but the safety of our law enforcement officers by the CDC purchasing their specialized SWAT vehicle, which should be delivered soon. I cannot wait to ride in it for Christmas. They've promised that I can ride in it. I might have to wear a Santa outfit, but I at least get to ride in it. Go ahead, Amber. Priorities, and I'll say ours are a little different than other departments because I have 2 boards. They're the legislative body of what I do. I've been back 3 days. We have not run this through the boards. These are my opinions of priorities, although I have had conversations with board members, and I think we're all aligned. I just want to be clear that These are, as I see it moving forward, and we will be having a strategic planning shred to true these up. EDC holds strategic planning meeting, identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, continue to develop healthcare, retail, while adding family entertainment, hospitality, and others, and make strategic land acquisition in support of Princeton's long-term goals. The EDC is the laws are pretty strict on what we can do, particularly in Princeton's position. Princeton's not in a position, Jason, we were just talking about it, we don't have a lot of industrial land. That's generally a focus of the EDC. What the EDC can do is we can't do retail incentives, but what we can do is we can do infrastructure as it relates to retail, which is an incentive. So that's how we structured our deals with Kroger that was announced. So we still can participate in that. Continue to develop healthcare, make strategic plan acquisition. CDC holds strategic planning as well. Be more intentional with expenditures. It's really easy for a CDC to become like a foundation. And there's so many good causes in this area, in this community, where people need help, people need money, and they all come to us and ask for money to support. And in my opinion, that's really not the most effective way to run a CDC. You got to be more intentional, particularly with the infrastructure that was brought up by both Kelly and Chief. The EDC and CDC can both spend money on infrastructure as long as for a commercial purpose and not for residential. I can't put a street in a residential subdivision, but we can certainly expand a street for commercial development. Challenges, EDC, extremely competitive markets. That'll never change. Current status of entitlements requires extremely strategic development moving forward. Again, Jason, we had an opportunity to just barely touch on that. Anybody have a guess on the percentage of land in the city of Princeton that is fully entitled residential today? It is 77.5% of the entire land mass of our city. And that includes the non-zoned ag area. And it's not all in one area. It's throughout the entire city. So I say that to build a picture is that, in my opinion, we need to be very, very strategic in land that is not zoned to protect it. One of my favorite sayings, protect it like our firstborn, and make sure, I think we should all, the phrase we should all have in our head and just live and die by it is highest and best use. We have a project. Is this the highest and best use for this piece of property? Is this the highest? And we may lose some deals. That's okay. I mean, we need to do deals, but we also need to be smart because you can only develop a community once. CDC, so many needs in a fast-growing community, trying to be everything to everybody, and then shedding the thought that the CDC is a foundation that gives away money, and being more intentional, sitting down with Public Works, sitting down with Chief, and saying, what strategic investments can we make in this piece of road and infrastructure, or this beautification project that's going to make an impact on the community overall. And then we can do some of the other stuff on the edges. I mean, we want to support some things, but we really need to focus our main assets on that particularly. And I know there's been talk of decreasing funding for the EDC and CDC. So now you've got to be even more strategic because there are other needs. There's also public safety needs. It's not a secret. So we just need to be very strategic in what we do. And I think that's the end of mine, Amber. And I hope that's within 10 minutes. Yes. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jim.
Can y'all see me? You know that's my favorite joke, right? You guys look fabulous, by the way. Pleasure to be here again, back before you. I'm just going to talk about some of the accomplishments of the marketing team. My most proud accomplishment is that we did the Citizens Government Academy. It was the first one. It was a fantastic experience. Out of that, I think we put 3 or 4 members of that class on boards and commissions. We have over 22 applications. I think we have 22 applications as of right now, and it hasn't been open a month yet. So that's exciting. Very proud of that. And it was great to give our team an opportunity to educate the public. So continue to please push that out. I'll send you guys a message. We've also improved communications on our social media, website, media relations, and through emergency messaging. I'm proud of how our team, marketing and communications, and the rest of the leadership team worked during the ice storm. That was 24-hour communications. It was a little crazy at times, but we worked seamlessly and better than my experience in larger cities. And I don't know if you guys know this, but whenever I got here 2 years ago, we had about 8,000 followers on Facebook. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have X. We weren't active on Nextdoor. We weren't using our LinkedIn as much as we could, but we have over 15,000 followers that we added in 2 years just on our city page. That doesn't count any of our sub pages. So we put out about over 200 pieces of social media communication a month, plus 4 to 10 newsletters and anything else that's going on. So between Mallory and I, our operational load is about 100. I think it's in your book. It says between 104 to like 160 hours a week. So that's two of us. I mean, we're both physically small, but our team is very small. So we stay really, really busy. And I can tell you how many times I talk to Chief after hours or any other chief after hours or anybody else. Tiffany and I talk a lot after hours if we've got something going on. So we are engaged, and I think that's the best thing that I can say about our team. And then we've also been able to expand opportunities for residents to give us feedback. I audit everything. So I'm watching, I'm listening, I'm seeing if there's a problem. Hey, this neighborhood says they're, without water, without power. I get with somebody, and we're trying to be that conduit between the public and the city and back the other way. And I think that we've really increased that both ways this last year. Our challenges are, we're rapidly growing, and it takes a lot to get this information out. Sometimes I think we could go to 2 newsletters a week with how many things that we've got going on. And again, when I got here, we were doing a quarterly newsletter in the fastest growing city in America. A quarterly newsletter. And my first week was we're going to weekly because we just have so much to tell people. And that takes time and takes effort to get that word out, plus supporting, internal needs. And then challenges are we want to reach diverse audiences and encourage meaningful engagement. What does that mean to me? It means we've got a lot of people from all kinds of places. And how do they get their information? Where do they get their information? We hear a lot, ironically, on social media about how we shouldn't rely on social media as our main form of communication from people that are on the social media, but okay. So we've really enhanced our website and really beefed up what's available right there on the homepage. And we're continuously trying to find ways to reach people. Looking at using our SMS communication to push out more information about events, not just emergencies, or other initiatives. Trying to get people to sign up for our city app. How many of you guys have the city app on your phones? Okay. How many are you signed up for the Pulse newsletter? Okay. So it's that kind of thing, right? Is being able to reach people how they want to be reached. I know that we would all love to be able to go out to every house and have these conversations, and we are holding more town halls, but you can't do it for everything. So trying to reach people where they're at is a big thing for me. And making everybody feel welcome at the table as well. Whether you just got here, you lived here for 20 years, whatever, everybody's welcome because they're a resident, and giving them that opportunity to share their thoughts. And then finally, just managing everything that we do within our budget and staffing. Mallory and I are workhorses. We're going to get the job done no matter what. But, we would eventually like to bring on somebody else down the line. Don't worry, I didn't ask for it this year. But we would like to have a third person at some point, which would allow us to be able to step back when we can and detach. Not that I will ever detach, but those are our challenges and our accomplishments. If anybody has any questions.
Don't forget, you guys assisted with the Toys for Tots as well last year. You guys assisted with the food drive when they were having the food stamps issues and things like that. So you guys step in when we need you guys. So I really appreciate you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, if you could see her, you can see me. Good morning, Mayor and Council. I'd like to start with our mission. The Development Services got together December of 2025 and decided what our mission would be going forward. So our one mission is to earn and maintain public trust by providing consistent, transparent, and efficient services to build a quality Princeton and to manage our rapid growth properly. So to do this year, we have been focusing on building the foundation that Princeton needs for growing balanced and growing well and creating quality of life. So we did that in three ways. We focused on building systems, we focused on building partnerships, and we focused on building organizational capacity. So we started with organizing our processes, cleaning them up, creating checklists, creating operational timelines, and just making sure that as simple as having our case files, case tracker, all of those basic things, we focused on that. We did build partnerships. We've created a development review committee with all the departments that need to be there at the table for development. So we've got planning, building, parks, public works, and fire. All of us get together and look at the developments coming in. And then we also have biweekly meetings now with the ISD and Collin County. And we've been very involved with their Northeast Freeway and those kind of things. We're hoping to do more next year. We did build organizational capacity. If any one of you've been through the department, we've hired very capable staff. They've been doing great moving these things forward. And so those were some of the accomplishments of this year. For next year, we're thinking of basically this year we built the foundation. Next year, we're going to refine it and institutionalize it. And those are the things, those priorities will support implementation of our comprehensive plan and position us to continue improving services as we grow. So, however, to do all of that, we have major challenges. The top three are our growth is outpacing our organizational capacity, staffing, resources. We're falling short on timelines. We're having to use third party. And so that's a major challenge. The other one is our regulations. They were not written for a fast growing, developed urban community or suburban community. They were written for a very small Princeton. And the third is how do you maintain public trust during rapid growth? Because we have to balance infrastructure, economic development with what the community wants and desires. So those things sometimes don't mix well, and that's a challenge on how do you do that? How do you maintain transparency and consistency and good communication while making sure you're legally compliant, you're doing all these other things? And so those three challenges are what we'll be facing. I did very quickly want to say all the budget requests that you're going to see will be addressing one or more of these three challenges this year. So for building systems, we need those thoroughfare plan, zoning, downtown plan. To build partnerships, we need to go out into the community. We need to talk more. We need to do builder roundtables, developer roundtables, basically act like we are the city we want to be. And then for building organizational capacity, we have asked for administrative support. Our technical staff right now can't do their job because they're doing admin work. And so we do need that support, but we've also given some alternative solutions on how we can reclassify some positions to fix our leadership structure, as well as some, how do we use our existing staff to do the work by just providing a little bit more training. So I am happy to answer questions.
I'd like to thank you for your presentation. I have a question about how much are we spending outsourcing some of the inspections and the plan reviews and things per year? And then also, got another question also. Are we doing electronic inspections? In other words, they have like a laptop, they go out and they do it, and it automatically transmits back in to the file?
So I'll start with the last one. It should be doing it. However, it's not working the way it's supposed to. So that's one of the technology challenges that we're going to be fixing going forward, is how do we make more efficient use of technology that we already have by just seeing if we can tweak some of the back end stuff. So yes, we can do it, but right now we don't have the ability to do it. And then for third party, just for inspections, about $120,000 for third-party inspections, when sometimes we get 180 inspections in a day. Well, we need someone else to help us. If one inspector's out, there was a time we only had one in the department, so our building official and plans examiner could help, but then we needed extra help. So that's why 120. For plan reviews, we would be spending at least $300,000 in the upcoming year, just for residential plan reviews. So that's $250 per residential plan review. So you can see if we're expecting 1,200, 1,500 new residential permits, that's how much we'll be spending.
And that's part of the rate increase that we're looking at to kind of cover some of those costs, or do we get that cost back from the builders after we go through the review process and things like that, or is that just kind of a cost for the city to just operate?
No, so the fee increases will offset some of that cost, but not all of it. But at least it'll go, some of it we will be recouping.
Hey, Terrence. So I do appreciate your more hybrid approach in terms of how we're looking at the development services, kind of getting very creative in how we solution these. I'm looking at the development services future proposed organizational chart. It has a new position on these. Are these positions, they're new and they'll be addressed in the upcoming budget, or these new positions like the new admin, plans examiner, new urban planner, are those already fulfilled, or?
Just new admin will be coming to you for, and then the new plans examiner is actually a request to reclassify inspections and code enforcement officer position that's not filled right now, to reclassify it into a residential plans examiner, and then instead of a whole new urban planner, I didn't want to upset Kelly too much with that. So instead of that, we are requesting reclassifying our existing planning manager position into a assistant director position for planning. So with all of that, we think we can get the work done.
Perfect, thank you.
And just to clarify too, I love this interaction with the departments and them talking about what they've accomplished and what they're looking forward to accomplish next year. But these requests that you identified, even Terrence, I appreciate you doing that, are not in the proposed budget. So we'll take direction from council, but it is what it is when I presented the numbers on the budget itself, just how tight it is currently. So yes, we'll walk through those in here in a little bit as well, but none of that is in there. And when you mentioned plan review, is that engineering services?
No, that's
Okay.
we got BV, we
Okay.
went to council to get more money for that
Yes,
recently. That's the one.
Yes. So we have 200,000 placed in that for those sort of services, but engineering is another cost that the general fund does incur. That is an open position. We're hoping, again, as the chief mentioned, with the new Public Works Director with his knowledge and his experience, that could assist a lot of those costs and hopefully mitigate a little bit. It's going to be a big workload, but that is a big budget number as well.
And then just, let me speak on that too as well. So one of the ideas that Shaq kind of brought up too as well. So while internally, some of our permits, they do take a little bit of time to kind of go internally. So there's another option out there that Shaq and our team kind of worked up. It's pretty much called an express lane. So instead of upfronting the cost from the city to send the stuff out, we're going to open that up to the developers. So that way they can contract out these engineers and all the other stuff to review all the plans, permits. They pay the developers, or they pay us pretty much the upfront cost. They get paid to developers. That goes to the engineer fees and all the other stuff. So that way their permits can get kicked out at a whole lot quicker rate than sitting here with us and then logging our staff down.
Hey, Shai, on the thoroughfare plan, can you just give a little bit more explanation for residents on how that will work, please? Because, transportation on roads continue to be a sore spot.
Yes, so right now, our city does not have a updated thoroughfare plan. A thoroughfare plan will show you generally where your roads should go, but also what size and what cross-section or what design each road should be. And when you have that, when people come to develop to the city, we can ask for right-of-way. So we don't have to then go buy it or do eminent domain or anything if we just plan ahead of time and ask them to do it as a part of the development process. Well, we didn't do that all this time, so now we're stuck with 75, FM 75 with the size and the right-of-way that we have. But so that in the future these things don't happen, we should have a thoroughfare plan. And also impact fees. If you don't have a thoroughfare plan, you cannot do your roadway impact fees will not work. So that's why you need a thoroughfare plan.
I have a question. You just brought up FM 75. So are you saying that we will not be able to expand Long Neck Road in that area?
So
Or is there still the intent to turn it into a 4-lane road?
well, the Long Neck Road depends on how much right-of-way it already has. So, and I'm not an engineer, so however, it does have, I think, 80 feet wide right-of-way, at least in a part of the Long Neck. And that's enough to build it to a bigger size. However, we don't have the roadway impact fee to afford it.
Correct.
So that's the problem we're having. Even if we have the right-of-way in places, we don't have a roadway impact fee that matches it to be able to build it.
Well, the parts where you don't have the right-of-way, would those be the residential homes closer to like the Caldwell Park, the walking area? Because those houses are very close to the road, and to take more from their properties would put them out of compliance with the distance their home has to be from the road. So does that mean then, without having those right-of-ways, we will have to look at eminent domain?
No, so when you do a thoroughfare plan, we will be doing community engagement. We will be going to the public to show where the plan is. So it's not like staff just sits there and says, this is what we need and this is what we're gonna build. We will work with the community to see what are they wanting, what are they willing to give. We just give them, here's what the impact is gonna be of this road versus that road, this alignment versus that alignment, and they choose, and then of course it comes to you all and you make the final decision.
How does that work when
All
you're
right,
already
we're not
looking
gonna go
at?
into specifically into
putting-
Long Neck Road. I think we speak about Long Neck
well,
Road
in
on so
general.
many. Yeah, we're way off topic. So let's continue with the
Well, okay,
presentation.
this is related to the thoroughfare plan in general on any road. With the comprehensive plan, if we're already looking at putting hundreds of apartments in an area, how does that alter the thoroughfare?
It all depends on exactly what comes out when we're waiting for the new Public Works Director to come in so that we can both departments can work together to see how the thoroughfares and the traffic needs to move. You might have some requests to change either. So nothing set in stone. These are just high-level ideas, like the comp plan, the thoroughfare plan. These are ideas. This is a roadmap. It comes to council to decide what you all want to do.
And is there plans to increase the partnership with the ISD for our planning going forward with the city so that when we're putting things in place and making decisions where commercial's going and stuff is the thoroughfare, taking that into accountability because it impacts the student attendance in the neighboring schools?
So yes, that's why we have this biweekly meeting now with the leadership of the ISD, at least on staff level, and we meet every 2 weeks to discuss development issues.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, Fallon Carrillo, Director of Employee Experience here at the City of Princeton, and I'm going to be addressing the Employee Experience Department, which is our human resource services at the City of Princeton. So our mission here is basically to be responsive, ethical, and have strategic human resource services that promote transparency, accountability, employee engagement, and organizational excellence. So, with obvious, you guys may have heard, the top 3 accomplishments of my department is one, being named the 2025 Top Workplace of Dallas Morning News, being recognized as the 2026 US Today Top Workplace, and also being honored throughout the state of Texas for the Texas Municipal Human Resource Association with the 2026 Human Resource Impact Award. There are other accomplishments that the department has achieved, such as maintaining operations while we face growth in the workforce, delivering measurable HRs. One thing I honor myself on, sometimes we have estimates and guesses, but being able to log the output that we have within the department was a huge accomplishment for me. Also strengthening policies, compliance, classifications, and workforce infrastructure. Our top priorities moving into 2027 would be one, and I'm just going to summarize, I know you guys will get this, strengthening compliance, policy, and risk management. One thing with a growing city is that I want to see consistency within discipline, complaints, strengthening documentation, and ensuring that employee practices align with laws, policies, and our operational needs. The second one is improving recruitment, retention, and workforce. As our city manager implied, that we have a lot of key positions open as well as others that affect the workload that we're currently facing. We do not want our current staff to burn out to supplement the absence of these positions. So we want to focus on reducing the vacancy timelines. I don't know if it's mentioned in your packet under my department, but one thing we want to do is bring down that vacancy days a position is vacant. 180 days is really pushing it. It's high risk, but we have some positions that were actually vacant for more than a year, more than 200 days. And if we're coming before the council, if we're using taxpayers' money to say we have a need for these positions and they're going vacant, we need to reassess those things. So being able to fill those positions would be detrimental to the department and also the organization. And then third priority would be to expand employee engagement, leadership development, and organizational culture. With any turnover, with any increase in workload, it is very important to keep that morale, keep that retention, because as some may know, especially as business owners, the cost to replace an employee is more than it takes to retain. So we want to make sure that we are prioritizing leadership development, employee recognition, internal communications, and I would like to give a huge thanks to Erin for helping with that. Performance management and tools to help the employees feel more informed, supported, and connected. One thing that our city manager had mentioned was in the past, we had a sense of siloing. We don't want that anymore. And as well as our residents wanting more information, our workers need that as well. So just increasing that. Some of the challenges that you hear will be similar to other departments. Ours, for example, would be staffing, increasing workload with limited staff capacity. In your packets under my department, you will see the workload that we pushed out, the number of cases that we dealt with, as well as the hours. But staffing capacity, I come